Hello, I'm Joby Carter from Carter Steam Fair, as you may well or well not know. Now, we started the fair, when I say we, I was 18 months old, in 1977. So my parents weren't born into it. They were show promoters and decided that they wanted to have their own rides to take to the fair. And our first ride was Gallopers. But before the Gallopers, my dad actually bought this from someone called the Windsor Lad. It was built in 1948 and it is a test your strength striker. Back in the day, they're very popular, one of the oldest rides or attractions, that you would have found at a fair. Not as popular these days because people generally aren't as physical as they used to be, so people actually haven't got a clue what to do with a hammer. But nonetheless, it is a great thing to go on to test your strength, and still travelling today. It was off the road for a few years. I was actually it was handed to me when I was about 17. I was sort of like invited, if you like, to start a business, and I started with a striker. I moved on to swing boats, and on and on it went. But now the swing boats and the striker, which all pack in one truck, are now travelled by my sister and brother-in-law Dave. Dave is from Cork, hence the Irish flags, which he's very proud of, and so he should be. He's not so keen on the Union flags, I'm not going to lie to you, but he's told he has to have them up. You have to watch, he don't put them upside down. Disrespectful bugger. So, the ride we started with, the Gallopers, but actually, before we owned the Gallopers, we owned the remains of our steam yachts, which I think my parents bought in about 1974. But we had no way of restoring them because we didn't have a steam engine. The steam engine on that ride had been scrapped in the 50s, but my dad knew the importance of what he had, bought it, put it in the corner of the shed, and when people walked in he'd tell people, "That's my steam yachts there." And of course they'd all laugh because at the time there was only one set of steam yachts, which was the Harry Lee set. Now later on in the 80s, early 80s, Harry Lee, who we knew because he used to come to some of my dad's shows, was kind enough to let us buy one of his engines, which happened to be his original engine from his ride, which was 1901. And so yeah, in the 80s, once we'd got the Gallopers and the chairplane on the road, we restored our steam yachts. But today I want to talk to you about our Gallopers. Now here they are in all their glory. The only thing missing at the moment from them is what we call the domes, which is, it's like the crown that goes on top. And the reason they're missing is because we made a new, and this is just the truth, we built a new set of rounding boards which took a few months to build and paint and decorate. The only thing original on those is the mouldings, which have all got new gold leaf put on them. But the bit that goes on the top is the domes. One, we didn't actually physically make the brackets to fit them on, and two, because these are freshly painted, they were last painted in 1995. They look a bit ropey, so we decided to leave them off. They'll stay in the yard, they'll be stripped off over the course of the summer, and they'll be painted, and who knows, we might even get them on for the end of the season, but realistically it's looking a little bit plain. But the rounding board's very pleased with, all new light sprigs and all as it should. And only a year or two before I made a new set of platforms and a new set of steps. So the only thing original on these is the ironwork here, and I'm sure they've had a few repairs over the years. The joys of life. That one will have to wait. Trigger's broom handle. I'm sure we've all seen Only Fools and Horses, where he describes his broom handle as having 10 new heads and 6 new handles. Well, a Galloper or any machine of this age is like that. So when people tell you how old it is, which bit? Well, and also, you know, without insulting my own ride, it's a bit of a bitzer. The domes I was talking of, I'm certain they weren't the original domes, and you know, they were probably taken off another ride that was retired. The horses are very, very unlike the original. I know some of them aren't original because we had them made, but all the outside ones are genuine wooden horses, as you can see from the cracks. I can tell you a little tale, but they're probably not as old as a ride. They're probably 10 years younger or something. The upkeep on horses, original horses like this, because there's the weather opens and cracks them, and just packing them, the damage is immense. And they're on their second paint job, and it won't be too many years before they get stripped off and have to be done again, which is hundreds and hundreds of hours of work. This year it had Carters on the rounding boards and all the rest were paintings, but I put my dad's name and the full name of the ride, which is John Carter Jubilee Steam Gallopers. And about the word gallopers, the galloper is a British invention, and they go clockwise, and we called them gallopers. The idea went abroad and they revolved the other way. Now, is that because a lady rides side saddle on an English road? Is it because of jousting and the way horses jousted? Because when these were made, they were being reminiscent of days before. You know, they were sort of old-fashioned in their idea of gentle riding a horse. But of course, the idea of riding a horse was a novelty, and they were a huge success. I have to drink tea. You need tea breaks. But our word for them is galloper. In the continent, in America, they call them carousels. Now that word has seeped into the English language to the point where most showmen now call them carousels because the public understand what they are. So we're losing the word galloper. So although it might be a little bit anal, I do like to correct people and tell them the correct name for it is the galloper. Not quite as bad as my dad, because if you phone my dad up and ask for a carousel, he'd say, no, sorry, I can't help you, and put the phone down. And I'm not joking. But as far as I'm concerned, a carousel is the thing you get your luggage from at the airport. This is an English galloper. Something that, but back in the day when I used to work on this as a kid, things are a bit different now. You know, you can't work on an adult ride until you're 18, which could be frustrating for staff, but they have to work on the stalls. But when I was younger, one of my first jobs was putting the booked music for the organ. Now we're guilty; we don't use the books anymore because it does save a staff member, and also the books are very valuable, and all the time you're using them, you're wearing them out. So we have this MIDI system where it is still playing the organ, but there's an electronic gubbins that tells it which keys to play. Effectively, it preserves the organ a lot longer, but it is lovely to see books go through. You can still put books through it. So when I was younger, there was one of us on there. There was the engine driver, which was my dad, until he found someone else to drive it. My mum would go in the pay box, and there would be two and sometimes three of us taking money, so 5 of us used to work on this ride. And you can run this ride with one person, very comfortably run it with 2 people when you're a little bit busier, because we operate a token system and it's just a whole lot easier. And yes, I need to get this cough sorted before anyone writes that in.
Can we say hello to some people?
Yeah, say hello to some people. While I drink my tea, you talk to them, Matt.
We've had some comments. I don't know if people are going to hear me. Let's turn this around. So we've had some comments from... We'll just say hi to everyone who's watching. Let's see, we have Kelly, Andrew Watts, Robbie Tansley, Anthony Whitemore, Dave Goodman, Lee Thornton, Martina Farrow, Denise Upham, James Askow. I don't know how you say that. Hello James. Hello everyone, just wanted to say thanks for watching. Let's turn this back around.
By all means, ask any questions you'd like to know about the Galloper. So, when we first bought the Galloper, once again I'm saying I was a baby. We lived in a house and with a garden only big enough to build it up. And when we built it up, it was about that far away from the house. My dad had calculated it, and it wasn't derelict. It had been working, but it was in a sad, rundown state. There weren't many gallopers travelling. In the 70s, they'd gone down to about 12, I think, and now there's probably 100. They've kind of had a renaissance, and there's even new ones being built, ones that fold up, full of galvanised steel and fiberglass. Not quite the same thing. Most of the general public wouldn't realise. This ride dates back, and I'm going to say circa 1895, because we've got photos of it way back. We believe it was built for the Harrises, and it's a little bit shady. And I think my dad fancied the centenary, so he hung on 1895, not 1885, like Matt said the other day. This is why we're doing this. I'm trying to educate Matt because he's just making stuff up.
I get my info from the watchers,
and they're making stuff up. Read our website, and if there's a problem with that, let us know. We'll change it. It's pretty up to date.
How old is a galloper? James wants to know.
1895, circa 1895. There's no paperwork to back that up. It was researched by a historian. We sell a book on the galloper, the history of the galloper, from our website, which is a brilliant read, and it really does nail it down. There's some fantastic old photos of it back in the day.
And the address is?
Well, it's cartersteamfair.co.uk. Go to the shop on there. There's numerous books we've got for sale on there.
Sean Arnold wants to know the horses named after family members.
They are. They are named after family members. This is my mum. That's my niece. That's my nephew. I got it around the right way, yeah. And various family members. Always very tricky because people want to have their name on there. And yeah, just sometimes have to wait for people to die. I'm not going to lie to you. Often. In fact, no. I've got the latest niece, and her name's not on there. Yeah, so yeah, just it's a waiting game. No, I will do it. And I mean, I did request that my sister just called her child after one of the horses that is already on it to save some sign writing, but no, had to give her a new name. It was a problem. Anyway, where was I? You distracted me.
Sorry, horses.
No, yeah, when we bought the galloper. So when we bought the galloper, we were completely green. There's so many quirks to, restoring a ride and getting a ride about, let alone making it profitable. Now, mum and dad had their own shows to go to, but to supplement it and make a bit more money, they also took it to other shows. So I think our first event was up near Boston in Carrington in a rally, and it took us like 2 or 3 days to build it up, and we didn't have the shield, we didn't have the domes on it, we didn't even have any lights on it, we didn't have an organ. It was real basic, but to restore the ride, my parents sold so much stuff just to get it out on the road. And became showman. We grew to love it and made it our full-time profession. In the end, the shows went into decline, and we bought more and more rides, and we became a fair rather than ride owners that went to other people's shows. So my dad's promoting skills have made us what we are today, and I've just got the baton carrying on with it basically. But the ride was very basic, and then as time went on, we just kept working on it, kept decorating it, built new rounding boards, built new domes, and so on and so forth until it's the ride you see today. But as I mentioned earlier, had to build a new set of rounding boards, had to build a new set of platforms, a new set of steps very recently. And it goes on and on and on and on. And in fact, I only managed to gold leaf the tombstones in the middle. They had flamboyant on them about 5 or 6 years ago. So when I did that, it kind of felt, finally, we've actually finished it. And then it goes around again. So it's like the Forth Bridge. We polished all these a couple of years back, and I don't think we used the right lacquer because it's peeled off. So some of them it's already coming off. So that's another job that'll have to be done again, and that's frustrating. But that's one of those things. Possibly the reason Carter Steam Fair exists is because of this very pay box here. Come and have a look at it.
Just gonna pop this on. Somebody's pointed out that it's a bit windy, so I'm going to stick my pop filter on. We've got a guy called Warren watching from Australia.
Lovely. What time is it in Australia?
I don't know. Couple of days behind.
So, this is a genuine pay box from a set of gondolas. Now, I can know Mrs. Waddington, ironically the family that owned Harry Lee Steam Yachts, which is the engine we've got. That's also a member of the family. I can only presume that's a self-portrait. She had carved on there. Might have been her daughter, who knows? But that is carved by hand, and it is just so beautiful. I mean, if that could tell you, it's a bit dirty as well. If that could tell you a tale, that could tell you about all the people that have been on the ride, on this ride, and the ride it was built for, which was a gondola, which was a giant ride back in the day. And originally, it would have had a top that came out. It would have sat on the outside of the ride, and there would have been a big carved top come over it. And the money takers would have taken their money and come and paid in. Now, it's very rare we're busy enough to require having someone in the pay box. Now, when I was a lad, all I wanted to do was work on the Gallopers. So I started on the organ, which is not what you want to work on.
Sorry, we just had a comment in.
Go on.
Can I just interject?
Go on.
Pam Francis said, please can you fill the holes in the horses' bottoms? My granddaughter was more fascinated with them than the ride.
Well, there you go. Originally, the horses would have had... Come and have a look. Come and have a look. Now, originally, this is a peg, and you can actually just see traces of hair on there, and that would have had a genuine horsehair tail on it. This one has no hole. This one has a hole. That's for a tail. It's for a tail. What's wrong with you people? So one day maybe I'll put the tails back on. Hello, how are you doing? So I can see that as long as she's on the outside. So the pay box, yeah, I think my dad saw this. I mean, the ride was only it was in Burnham Beeches. It was down the road from where we live, and my dad fell in love with it, and it looked very differently. The centre, what we call the drum, and then you got the top centre up there. None of that was on there. It had these huge, big ones from a much bigger ride coming down at an angle to the middle. So it didn't like this, and it didn't have a steam engine. It had electric dynamo put on it to run, electric motor and a starter, which they would have run from the pay box. Because you know, a lot of them, as soon as they get rid of the engines, they did, because they're a pain in the bum. You've got to get up. You've got to clean that out every day and light it up. It's very efficient. You use 2 or 3 bags of coal a day. But they're dirty, smelly things, and the chimney, the smoke has to go up the chimney, so the main pole gets full of soot, and you can see why people got rid of them. They went looking for a steam engine, and someone we knew had one, and my dad managed to convince him to sell it. Bought the engine, put it on, and all the holes lined up. Now, what's the chances of that? So we think it was probably the engine that was taken off it, and it didn't go too far, and we managed to buy it and put it on. Now, this is the coal bunker. The second one, the first one went rotten, maybe a few years ago. But I'm gonna confess, Carter's always powered by steam, beware rotation. A few years ago, we got invited to go in the O2, and they're very particular. They wouldn't let us light the steam engine inside the O2, so I fitted a very discreet motor. I'll come around and show you. So this is the engine, and every day you clean. I mean, you when you run a steam engine, you oil it at the start of the day, and you give it an oil up periodically throughout the day, and make sure all these oilers are filled up. And it's very simple. That drips through every so often and lubricates this. And these, if you don't oil it, you're going to wear it out faster. But because of that, the oil goes all over it, so you wipe it off. And because you wipe it off, you're also wiping with, you know, a little bit of the paint off. And in time, look, we've worn the gold away. It's a working engine. We're at it all the time.
It's 8:30 at night in Australia, by the way.
Oh, well, that's all right. I thought you got up early. So the way it works is the steam engine rotates this cog, the flywheel cog, rotates this. It goes to these 90-degree cogs. That then goes up inside to a cheese wheel. Got a cog inside there, and it revolves it. And if we're feeling keen, we'll climb up and we'll look over the top and show you that in a bit. But the cheat is in there, if you can see it. Is a dirty 3-phase motor that gets covered in oil, because it's a total loss system. So if I'm built up in the O2, or I get sometimes I might get a film job where they want the ride spinning and they want it for 10 minutes. and I don't want to spend 3 hours lighting up the engine for that. So it's very handy. Put it on. But when I use it, I really don't like it. It's just soulless. You press a button and it kind of comes up and goes round at exactly the right speed. And it's just something very dull about it. So when we're open, we are always powered by steam, unless I had a mishap and a problem with the engine. And that was another thing that twisted my arm. 10, 11 years ago, I had the firebox. Gave up the ghost and started leaking to the point where I had to stop using it. So I lost the ride for the last 5 weeks of the season. So I thought, this is silly. I need to have a backup plan. So that's what we did. So over the years, it's had many changes of evolution. I mean, we as a family have owned it longer than any of the other families. I think we're the 8th owner, and we've had it over 40 years now. And who could say how much longer, if any of my kids are daft enough to do this. The mirrors in the middle, which need a bloody good clean, there's brilliant cutting, and regrettably we broke one of those. The door was left open in the yard, the ride was turned and it broke a mirror.
Dave actually asked earlier, are they original mirrors?
No, they're not original, because what happened was when Dad bought the ride, he's in one of the sheds, he saw this carve work and said, shouldn't they be with it? And they, in the end, they came with it, so they were put back on, and they are original. They're all carved in wood. And of course, inevitably they get covered from this blowing off and this and that. But these were made, but we just had to make a new one, and it's actually something we've now got the facilities to make ourselves in the yard. Aaron, who paints for me, has fallen in love with the ability to be able to do brilliant cutting, so that's something we're been able to. We do so much of this stuff in house, woodwork, fabricating, painting, and now we can do the glass work. Which we haven't learned how to make light bulbs yet, which would be really useful. So JWC, that's my dad's initials. He didn't use those initials, but I do like that on there, because that kind of says this is my dad's ride, and I do like, I do perceive this as his vision, as something I just took on and have carried on with. A couple of interesting things is the I'll give the engine a little test in a minute. Film jobs we've done. It's funny. I was talking about the electric motor, because there's the controls in there, and it was messing about. I don't know. We recently filmed Paddington 2, and it wouldn't behave. They wanted a shot of the Gallopers working, so we had to push it around. Yeah, we got a cure for that, because we hadn't lit the engine, because we were relying on electric motor. That was it. And there was another time we were doing a music video, and they wanted to film on the ride, so they needed electric, and there again we were inside, so we had to push it round and then have enough cord for it to go round numerous times and then stop and then wind it back and do it again. We've had numerous. We did the theory of everything, and that was in Cambridge University, and they happened to be doing some works where they built a bridge over it that we never would have fit through the gate, and they were so particular about the grass, and because the truck this packed on was so, which is over there, we call it the sledge, was so big, we had to modify a truck specially to build it up, and it's a few seconds in the video, but that's an Oscar winning film, that I'll have you know. I'm sure Paddington, did it win a BAFTA? Probably. Let's say it did anyway. It deserved it. It was brilliant, Paddington 2. Other jobs we've done with it is 28 Weeks Later. I'm not a fan of horror, but that's a good movie. But where we built it up, it was supposed to look like it hadn't been inhabited for 6 months, hence 28 Weeks Later. So we had to build the ride up in long grass. But the director showed me where he wanted it. I said, it was a bit tight to that tree. Oh yeah, we want it to look like it's in the tree. And when I went to get the truck, he'd moved the block. So when I built up, it was in the bloody tree. So we had to hold it out of the way, turn it, hold it out of the way, turn it. I wasn't best impressed, but it did look like it had been there. And of course they put weeds all coming up the rods, and then when I saw the movie, there's someone walking around the ride with a big gun. That doesn't normally happen, just like to say. But it's always interesting it is interesting to be involved with filming. But actually, sorry to burst people's bubble, incredibly boring when you're actually doing it. Film sets are not that glamorous, but we get used a lot because we've done so many jobs. When I get people phone me, I speak their language because I know what they want already. So we've been used all the time for filming, and also because the ride's so authentic. You know, yeah, although those platforms aren't that old, they've been copied how they should have been back in the day, and we use, you know, genuine light bulbs. We haven't got plastic twinkly ones, which a lot of people revert to. But you know, that said, I'll use a box of 100 light bulbs on all my stuff every week, just like that. And normally because they've been smashed, rather than, but just because they're so fragile when you're moving stuff about, and that's the way it goes.
Question from Oliver. He said, "What are the names on the top boards up there?"
Well, back in the day, 1895. And later, you know, when was television invented? When was colour photos invented? When was, you know, magazines invented that had pictures in? They didn't have any of this. So Fairground rides had paintings on that fascinated people. And those were theatrical stars from the day. And people would have heard of them. They wouldn't have had a clue what they looked like. So if you painted them on your ride, that would have drawn people to it.
Cool.
Well, I'm going to have to sign off now because we've got a fun fair to open. And yeah, come and have a go on the fair. That's the idea. Any more questions about it? I see him laughing behind the camera.
No, I think, well, I'll probably miss the load, but you know, they come up quickly.
Well, I'm sure we'll try and flick through them and answer any of them if we can once we're offline.
Oh, someone just said, "Where do you get your bulbs from, please?"
Light bulbs from? We had imported a load from China. Sort of 10,000 at a time, so I actually don't know because the person who got them in for me doesn't get them anymore. I would love to have authentic looking LED ones that use less power, because if you can't tell, as far as I'm concerned, I'm cool with that, but these are genuine light bulbs, and yeah, they're a pain in the butt. Little glass. There you go. Need a clean. Yeah. So. Oh, whistle's not working. No. We'll leave it at that. Got any keys?
Hello everyone. Right, I just want to say thank you all for watching this informative infomercial on the Gallopers from Joby. If you'd like to keep in contact with us or keep up to date on what we're doing, you can check Facebook, Instagram, or our website. Our website has a list of all the grounds that we're on this year, where we're going, what times and dates we're going there. So check that out. It's cartersteamfair.co.uk.
He's going to test it in a minute.
Yeah? Cool, you can have a ride with us. Yeah, cartersteamfair.co.uk. On Instagram and Facebook we are Carter's Steam Fair Online, and you can check all of the pictures and videos that we'll be doing live from the ground, all the grounds that we're at. Yeah, so I think we're going to have a test of the ride in a second, so I'll hang around and see if we can see how it's working, and in the meantime I'll show you around the ride. So we're here for another 5 minutes, I guess, just while they get this set up. So if you have any questions that I can answer, just let me know. And again, I just want to say thank you everyone for watching. Cy, Richard, Andrew Webber, Denise, Ron Williams, Jason Douglas, Oliver Mullins. I do apologise if I've forgotten anyone or I haven't seen anyone or I've missed any comments. They come in pretty quickly on this chat, on this video, so I do apologise. We are, sorry, just to answer your question, we are currently in Caterham, and Sarah, your question as well. We're currently in Caterham on Westway Common in Surrey. We're here just for today. This is our last day. We're open till 8 o'clock today. So pop down if you can and come and see us. It's a glorious day today. It's been a bit rainy the last couple of weekends, so it's nice. Daniel, we do go to 2 places I'll say north because it's north of where I am, because I live in the south. We go to Lichfield, and we also do Carfest North. I'm not great at geography, so where that is in comparison to Leeds, you'd have to check Google. Yeah, but just check it out. Our website's got everything on there. If you go to cartersteamfair.co.uk and then the diary page, you'll be able to see whereabouts we go. And I think there's maps and stuff on there too, so you can find out. Jackie, your big bro Dan, works on the swing boats. These are the swing boats. Hi to Dan. It's the northern ones, Daniel Rayner, just to answer a bit more of your question, the northern areas, like Joby was saying earlier, how John took the Gallopers to a show and it took sort of ages to get there and whatnot. The lorries and stuff, they do take quite a long time to get places. They're not the fastest things in the world, so to do northern areas is quite difficult, mainly because of the time that it takes to get there. So northern ones are a bit tough for us. We do take suggestions though. Again, the website, Facebook, Instagram. Send a message, write a post, do a video, why not? Some more questions, let's have a look. Nathan, unfortunately no, the Wall of Death is not with us. We also don't have the octopus. I saw a question earlier about doing a video on the octopus. We don't actually have it with us at the moment. My wonderful sister Shelley and her husband John and their family, they actually retired from the fair last year, and John was travelling the octopus and the dive bomber, and it has yet to be found an operator or an owner, whatever you want to call it, so unfortunately they're not with us. But our aim with these videos is obviously to do a bit of an info video on the ride, for all of the rides on the fair. We're going to go around and talk about all the rides and attractions, obviously with Joby because he's the man in the know. And again, I apologise for my lack of knowledge on these things, but like Joby said, we're doing these videos to educate myself as well as you guys. So yeah, we will be going around the fair, hopefully every week, just to give you a bit of an insight as to how everything works and where it all originated from and how we came to own it. Like the chairs in front of us here. If you can see the ceiling for the chaeroplanes in front of us, they've been those boards have been off for quite some time. They actually, over the years of use, they got rotten and they needed to be replaced, and it took about 6 months to get all that artwork done. But that painting on those boards is just amazing. It's all hand painted squadrons from the Royal Air Force. They're really great. Thanks Daniel, thanks for all your feedback as well guys. It's nice to know that what we're doing here is being received well. Ian, I do remember Bound Screen. Cool, that was a while ago. With regards to information like that, you're probably best to just message the Facebook page or through the website. The administration side of the fair is definitely a separate area to what we're doing here with the videos. Oliver, they do look mint, don't they? They're really, really nice. Those ceilings really finish it off as well. Chris, not in the same calibre that these guys do. You can go if you want. Yeah, not in the same calibre that these guys do. I do paint a little bit, but my expertise lies in the digital media side of things. Daniel, so yeah, a lot of people have seen the Netflix series, which was amazing. It was really good. I hope you all enjoyed it. Give it a share, actually, if you've seen the Netflix series Fairground Attractions. Give it a share. Richard, yeah, Shelley's my sister. I've been here forever. Morning. So we're just testing the ride now. All the rides get tested every morning, every time they get built up and pulled down. It's a meticulous process because, you know, safety is paramount in this business. So everything gets tested, and if there's any faults, they get rectified immediately. Thanks, Wayne. That's very nice of you to say. It's great to have the opportunity to do this, if I'm honest. I have been here, obviously, because my sister, Shelley Todd, and her family have been on the fair for my entire life, pretty much. I've been coming here forever, working here forever, on and off. And it is great to get the opportunity to show you guys all of this stuff. The ones that can't make it, the people that are around the world that wish that they could make it out. And that is that. Let's get off this thing. Ba-doing. There we go. Nathan, yes, the Ark is here. You can see it just nestled behind the chairs there. Oliver, yes. Have I unlocked something now? Everyone knows who I am. So we're just getting ready to open, actually. The token booth is just open for business. We've got families and people turning up. So, all the generators are on. That means it's time to go. So, let me just pop things down. Yep, we're ready to open now, so I will bid you adieu. And again, thank you everyone for watching. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you will watch the next episode, whenever that will be. Keep an eye on our Facebook page and Instagram. I'm also a photographer here, so we take photos throughout the day, and as it's such a beautiful day today, there should be some really lovely photos going up on the Instagram account, and some more live videos later on Facebook. And again, if you have questions, just pop them in a message on Facebook or Instagram or from the website, and we'll do our best to answer them. And thank you very much. We'll see you next time.